Alright, so in this video we're going to use it as sort of a data dump of some miscellaneous things that I've been either purposefully ignoring or just forgotten about. And we're going to go over a couple of them now. This is going to be a miscellaneous video. We're going to jump around to a couple of different topics, but all of it, should be useful. And also we have a nice new mascot over here for the time being. She'll be here for the next video or two, and we'll switch it out to something else. We have a brief little itinerary here that we're going to go over. The first is I'm going to do a quick recap on cheat engine and signed and unsigned ints and how we can sort of manage that in an easier way. In one of the previous videos, I talked about signed and unsigned values and positive, negative numbers, and how to deal with it and how to recognize them a little bit. And it's always a little tricky when you're dealing with it, but we can make cheat engine do some of the legwork, and depending on the actual values that we're looking for, if we're not doing anything crazy and huge searches with tons of values, then cheat engine can help us out a little bit. There's a trade-off, so let's to be a little more concrete about this first one. We'll start up the game, start up cheat engine. Yep, new game. Yep. And basically, at this point, I'm just going to reproduce exactly what we were doing in the previous video. Let's see, go back to the desktop. It should be here somewhere. Oh, guess not. All right, so do that. A little bit of this. Yep. All right. Attach it to the process. Go back to the thing. Click that. Click this. Click that. Yep. All right. So similar to the previous example, gonna basically try and we don't want to do that yet. Let's search for 16. Do it just a 16-bit value or 16 a 4-byte integer with the value 16. Search for 9. All right, there we go. So we have these two values. First one, they're gonna make this 100. Spend a point. Oh, that's not it. So we're gonna make this one 100. That'll be it. Awesome. So we're gonna get rid of that. Set this back to, we're gonna set this to 0. So character creation karma points, and this is just the player karma, or at least what will be the player karma once we start the game. So available points here, the actual value of the player's karma. So again, as we went over in the previous example or one of the previous videos, we spend 1 point, this value rolls over, and now it's at the max value for that type. So this is extremely tedious. Anytime you see a value like this, oh well, is it signed? Is it unsigned? I mean, we talked about how it was application specific, and the interpretation. And the value is always the same, the bit pattern, if you will. And we'll get into that in a little bit, but the bit pattern is the same. It's just how is the application reading this value or this series of bits, if you will. Cheat engine is a mature application, so it can help us out a little bit. If we know that we're looking for signed values or we're dealing with signed values or whatnot, we can tell cheat engine, look, just interpret this as a signed value so that we don't have to, know what the max value is and then do a difference and then, add it on to 0 or subtract it from 0 as the case may be. So we go up to edit, we go to settings, and then in general settings, you have address list specific. Show values as if they are signed. Select that, hit OK, and there you go. You have -1. We can spend some more points. It'll scale, or whatever you want to say is -10. Spend some more points. It's great, awesome, even better. Show me more. All right, so -105, and so now, I mean, if you know you're dealing with signed values, this is just a much easier way to deal with it. I don't necessarily leave the option turned on because when I see huge integers like that, if we uncheck this, if I'm searching for a value that I know should be around, in like the -100 to 100 range, and I see a huge value like this, in my head I'm thinking, okay, this is a signed value, so I will go up here. I will check this option, hit OK, and then I will just confirm it. All right, so that's negative 105, and then we can change it to, whatever. Let's make it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we can confirm it. We'll launch the game. QWERTY, if you please, and we'll see that the actual karma value is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this raises an interesting point about there you go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about the difference in values that signed and unsigned integers can hold. An unsigned value can hold twice. It's a general rule of thumb. You can look up the details, but an unsigned value can hold 2 times whatever the max value of a signed integer is. So I'm gonna sort of mess around here. Let's go to let me think about this for a second. 255. Can we do that? Sure. Let's see what happens if we change this to byte. All right. So we can see we're gonna change this to a single byte. And what's happening is Cheat Engine is only interpreting the first byte. We can change it to 2 bytes, and now Cheat Engine says, "Oh, okay, I'm only reading the first 2 bytes of this value." And then if we change it to 4 bytes, nothing's going to happen because the number's not big enough to actually need these extra 2 bytes, or yeah, the extra 2 bytes. And I'll get into that in just a second. But so let's this is an unsigned. Let's make sure that this is unsigned. Yep, uncheck that. All right, so we're gonna set this value to -1. So that's the max value right there that it can hold. So if we change this to, actually, I'm gonna bring up a calculator here real quick, and we're gonna do, just to sort of prove the point, we're gonna do 429. Is it set to decimal? It is 429,496, 7295 divided by 2. I can't see my keypad, so I don't know. Let's copy that. So now we're gonna go over here. We're gonna change this to show values as if they are signed. It's gonna become -1, but we don't care. We're going to paste this value in. Now, what is this? Well, in order to represent signed or negative numbers, what the computers do, because it's still 4 bytes, you can't just magically cram more information in 4 bytes when it's signed. What it has to do is it has to give up 1 bit to the first bit, specifically the signed bit, to tell the application, hey, this number is positive or this number is negative. So when you give up that 1 bit, what it basically does is it cuts the max value in half. So for an unsigned value, that's why, like I said earlier, an unsigned value can hold 2 times as much as a general rule as a signed value. So what we did is we took the max value of the unsigned, we divided it by 2, and we're going to put this number into a signed data type, or what Cheat Engine is going to call a signed int, and then so there it is. Let's see what happens if we just add 1 to this. Let's make that 8. It's going to immediately put the negative sign right there in front of that value, and it's going to roll over into the max negative value that this thing can hold. So if we, just to demonstrate that again, this is the lowest number that a 4-byte signed int can hold. It's 8. Let's see what happens. Let me think about this real quick. We're going to cancel that. We're going to go there. We're going to make this 9. Hit enter, and you can see the sign disappears, and now we're up to the max positive number that this value can hold. And just to, again, this is kind of esoteric, so to bring it home, go back up to settings and show values as if they are signed. We're going to uncheck that, so now we're looking at just unsigned values. Now, when we interpreted these values as signed before and we made this 8, it would immediately roll over because this was the max value. We're adding 1, so it's going to index from the bottom, or from the lowest possible value. So we are now interpreting them as unsigned, only positive numbers. We're going to add 1, and Cheat Engine has no problem dealing with that. You can add anything you want. Well, okay, not that. What we did is we just rolled it over again because we added too many numbers. But let's put it in -1. That's the max value. What's the lowest value? 0. So when you're dealing with it with signed and unsigned values, Cheat Engine can help you out a little bit with the show values as signed or whatnot, but it's you have to, I prefer the unsigned approach, but that's just me. Um, when I see, again, depending on the context and the range in which you're looking, if you're looking for a value between negative 100 and positive 100, and you think you found the value, or you think you found the address, but the value is something crazy. Let's get rid of that e. Um, and you see something like that, or specifically what I look for is something that starts with a 4. Um, if you see something crazy like that, then odds are you have the right value. It's just that Cheat Engine is displaying it in the positive way. Check that box. Let's add a digit. All right, there you go. So I mean, again, it's esoteric and complicated, but hopefully that I made the point somewhat here. If people have enough problems with it, then maybe I'll revisit this video and go over it in more detail. But basically, that's kind of a crash course on signed and unsigned values, and I'll get into some of the other stuff in the next video.